tight enough.
Should I get back out of this gear, higher gear now? More to. Alright, that's good.
Another adjustment on the derailleur that you have to remember is whether or not that chain can actually run off the outside here. If it's not adjusted properly and you shift it to that very small gear,
yeah,
if it's not adjusted right, it could run off the side and get jammed in here.
Oh.
Or if it's the other direction, it could run off the side and get caught in here.
Yeah.
In either case, what's going to happen is that chain is going to bind up and you're probably going to come to a dead stop.
Right.
It could ruin your derailleur. It could actually rip the derailleur off the bike.
Oh, wow.
If it got jammed in there.
So where you have it adjusted now, you did adjust it a little bit.
There are two adjustment screws on the front derailleur and two adjustment screws on the back derailleur.
Okay.
And the sole purpose is to keep that derailleur from allowing the chain to go off the inside or the outside. It's a high limit and a low limit.
Okay.
And on this particular derailleur, the limit screws are here. If you look back here, on the very back side of this.
Yeah.
Back here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see them. There's a screw here.
No.
Oh.
Underneath there, there's a limit screw. There's a high limit and a low limit.
Okay. Let me go back where you're at so I can see it. So you can see where it's at. Oh, I see them now. Okay.
See them?
Yep, yep.
And the sole purpose of those is to adjust the derailleur so it won't allow the chain to come too far out this way when you get to that very small gear.
Yeah.
Or to go all the way in and run off on the other side when you get to the very big gear.
Right.
And if for whatever reason your derailleur were to break and the cable would break and you couldn't fix it and you didn't want to ride in that, because if the cable breaks, this derailleur is going to go all the way out and it's going to ride in that very small chain ring or a very small gear.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't want to ride there until you get it fixed, then you can adjust those limit screws and to the point where it will center it on whatever gear that you want it to be on, and you can ride just in that gear, and it won't move. It'll stay right there.
Okay.
But the whole idea is to keep it from running off the top and the bottom. The same with the front derailleur. There are two limit screws, and right here they're on top. They're easy to see.
Right.
And that keeps the chain from running off too far outside or too far inside. It's a high limit and a low limit, and generally this would be the one on the outside, and this operates the low side.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you get a screwdriver and start playing with these, you could see how they would, how the limits would work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the crank. See?
Yeah.
Now I'm pushing that lever again, and it's not going any farther because the limit screw is set so it won't go any farther.
Right.
But if that limit screw were out of adjustment, then this chain could actually move all the way to the outside, and it could come off there.
Oh.
The same with the other side. If you have the other limit screw adjusted too far out, then it could run off and get wrapped around the bottom bracket there.
Oh.
So, and I mean, it's not a big deal. You just stop the bike and you put it back on again.
Right.
It's not as bad as if it gets tied up in the back.
Yeah.
So, but it's still annoying, especially if you're riding along and you got to stop. In this particular case, your bike is filthy dirty. My bikes never get this dirty. I don't let it get this dirty. So I clean the chain. I clean the gears. I've always been of the mind that you take care of your bike and they'll take care of you.
Right.
So.
Now there's dirt on these derailleurs. I know this back here is really filthy.
You know what I use? You can use, down to the co-op, they use Simple Green.
Simple Green?
Simple Green cleaner, and you just spray the bike with Simple Green, get yourself a brush. What I use is a vegetable brush and a toothbrush, something with a long handle where I can go over the gears with it.
Yeah.
Get down inside where everything is and scrub it good, and then I rinse it off with the hose.
Okay.
You never spray the bike though. You just kind of like a gentle rinse. You don't want to spray it hard because that'll force the dirt right into all the fittings, and you don't want the dirt forced in there. You want to try to get it out.
Right.
So just rinse it gently, and it'll wash that stuff out of there. And if it doesn't do it the first time, I do it again.
Okay.
And
now Simple Green could go anywhere on the bike.
Anywhere on the bike, right?
What about
for the chain? I usually use this stuff called grease lightning.
Okay.
But grease lightning it can be harsh on the bike if you let it sit on there. So if you use it, you have to rinse it off quickly. You can't let it stay on there.
I use the rock and roll lube.
Okay.
It seems to work
But
great.
after a while, I mean, those are oil-based lubes, and what the problem with it is dirt gets on there and it sticks. If you don't get that dirt off of there periodically, it's like sand or sandpaper, and it wears on your chain, and it'll just wear the chain out that much faster.
Oh.
So
something that's dirt repellent.
Keep it clean. I use on one of my bikes. I use it's a waxed base lubricant, but it doesn't last as long. I have to put it on more often, like every 300 miles.
Okay.
And but the dirt doesn't collect on it, so it keeps it a lot cleaner.
So grease lightning will get rid of the dirt.
Grease lightning, yeah, that will take care of the dirt, but you have to make sure that you rinse it off. You can't leave it on there.
What's a good way to rinse it off?
Pardon?
It's a good way to rinse it off with.
I just use the hose.
I don't have a hose or anything.
Well, in that case, I wouldn't use it. If you can't rinse it off good, because it's corrosive. I mean, it'll eat away at your.
So the rock.
It's got a citric acid in it.
So the rock and roll lubes is fine for now.
For just lubing the chain, yes, but
right.
At some point you need to clean it.
I clean it every so often.
Okay.
I have a standard bike chain cleaner. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Chain cleaner. Okay,
yeah.
That's good. Nothing wrong with that.
I lube it, then clean it, then lube it again
okay.
to get all the crap off there from the cleaner.
All right, that's the way to do it. So.
Now, when this thing gets dirty, is it that big of a deal?
Well,
that's hard. This thing's really hard to keep clean.
Yeah, that's where the vegetable brush comes in. A long-handled vegetable brush or a toothbrush. Spray it with simple green, scrub it, get all the crud off of it, and then rinse it off with water.
Okay.
So.
All right.
The cleaner you keep it, it's just like your rear derailleur cable.
Yeah.
If you just take the time to do it.
Yeah.
Periodically, it'll last you.
Now the green stuff will work good in the frame too, won't it?
Yeah, that stuff will work good. It'll get all this crud off of here.
Will this come off too? I'm sure it will.
Well, some of it will. Some of it may not. It depends on what it is. It's tape or.
What does this stuff look like to you? Like, a friend said it was just from the lock they had wrapped around it. The crap.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it was. It's probably just rubber stuff on there.
Okay.
WD-40. Spray it on a rag and just wipe it, and sometimes that'll take the stuff off. You don't want to get it all over your bike, but WD-40 is good for cleaning off things like rubber and glue.
This looks like paint that's chipped coming off.
Okay, yeah, it looks like your cables or something been rubbing on there.
Yeah.
So there must have been something on there.
I had a lock on there for a while.
Well, that's probably the lock bouncing around. That's probably what did it. So.
Okay. But yeah,
what you might consider. And I have it on 2 of my bikes. There's a rack on the back.
I thought about that.
And
really did.
I put panniers, and you can put so much stuff in there.
Oh, I have it. Friend suggested again not to get those. She said, "Well, if you corner it real hard, it'll tip over."
No.
That depends if you have them.
No, because those things they're not loose. I mean, when they're on there solid. They're not made to be flopping around. They're designed to stay on good and tight, so that they're not bouncing around. You can put stuff in there, and I mean, I go to the grocery store and I'll come home with 2.5 gallons of milk and canned goods and all kinds of other crap.
Oh yeah.
And I can fill those things up, and I never have any trouble with it.
Wow.
But and all the weight is back here. It's not up on your handlebars,
Right.
Where it'll change the way you can steer. Back here, it's over the back wheel. It's low on the bike. It makes it a lot nicer.
I think at one point when I went to the bike shop, they were saying the brakes need to be replaced, and I was like, I got these replaced not too long ago.
The brakes.
Yeah, the brake set.
The brake pads look good to me.
The brake set, the thing.
Well, there's another thing. See, these things come apart.
Yeah.
Now they operate free enough that you shouldn't have any problem. Now, you have a lot of tension on it. Right?
Here, I got it. I got it.
They operate freely enough. There's plenty of.
So these come off by
plenty of spring. Yeah, you just take these off. This whole thing comes out, and there's nothing. There's no bearings or anything in there. It's just a brass bearing or a brass sleeve.
So you can clean
So
it.
you can clean it and put a little bit of lube on it. You don't want to put a lot of lube.
Squirt or two on it.
No, not even that. One drop of, I use Tri-Flow.
One drop of it?
One drop of it and wipe it off, and that's all you need. You don't need a lot of grease on it. So
that should take care of it then.
But you're in good shape. Let's go back a little bit. You can actually loosen those brakes up a little bit.
I can adjust it.
So
Got it. I can get it.
Get it?
Not really. I got it before, crying out loud. That's not going. You got a nut or something, or a Allen key? I can just loosen that up.
No, I don't have any tools with me.
I can't get it. Son of a bitch. There we go.
Yeah, see, that's a lot tighter than it should be.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of travel in your brakes.
Maybe we should loosen that up.
I don't, well, here's how you can do it. Remember I talked about making your cable longer? Well, what you've done is you've screwed this out, and essentially what you've done is you've made this housing longer, so you're forcing the cable to travel a greater distance or cover a greater distance with the same length, so you're tightening it up.
So we should loosen that up.
So if you loosen this up, just by screwing this in, essentially you're making this cable housing shorter.
Okay.
So...
But won't the lever come in more?
It will. But as long as you can, when you squeeze it, as long as you can get your thumb in there, you're in good shape.
Oh yeah.
See? So that's what usually the rule of thumb is. If you can get your thumb in there when you got the brakes tight, then you're in good shape. You don't want any closer than that.
Okay.
Because you don't want to get to the point where you're bearing down on it. It's running up against this. And then it won't work anymore. So, but see, you got more travel in there now. And now, if you want to get this off, it'll probably be a lot easier. Okay.
Yeah.
These metal tubes are a pain in the neck.
Okay.
Same with the front. See, you've got a lot more travel in the front brakes than you do in the back brakes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The back ones will probably come off a lot easier.
Right.
Another thing is, if you get these brakes too tight in the back, if something should get caught in here between your wheel and that brake pad, it could jam your wheel up. I mean, it could that tight.
So that's pretty tight.
So you don't have a lot of room. Oh, you were holding that, okay. So you need some room in there.
Is that fine?
Yeah, if something gets caught in there, it'll come off.
Is it fine now?
Yep, it's fine.
Okay.
It's better than it was. So.
All right.
Basic adjustments. These are the things that you need to do. Like I said, if you ride as much as you do, it's that, or you're going to pay somebody to do it, or you're going to pay to have your bike repaired when you don't have to.
Right.
The more you can do on your own to maintain the bike.
I think at some point I will clean these brakes up. Take them apart.
You can do that.
I think they're hard to go to easy.
There's not much to it. Just make sure that when you put it back together again, there are little springs inside here.
Okay.
Okay. And on this tab, you see this metal tab right there?
Yeah.
There are 3 little holes in there. And depending on where you position that spring, will increase or decrease the tension on these brakes. So when you take them apart, make sure you look to see where they are.
Okay.
Put them back in the same holes.
Okay.
If you don't have enough tension on them, then the brakes aren't going to open up the way they're supposed to. If you put too much, then it's too hard to make them close.
This pad's real close to the tire. I don't think it's where it should be.
Nope, it's fine. It's
not
riding on it. As long as your wheel is straight and it's not dragging on it, you're in good shape. Okay?
It just looks a little close. That's all.
Well, the nice thing about these is they're self-centering because they go back and forth. Even if your wheel was a little bit out of alignment, say you broke a spoke, and the wheel went out of alignment, they would still ride. You'd still be able to ride it because this thing would move back and forth.
Oh, okay.
If you get the